فرزند زہرا یہ حالات برے ہیں.
کاشانہ بصیرت ایک ایسا مکمل یوٹیوب چینل جس پر محروم بصارت کے لیے بالخصوص اور تمام افراد کے لیے بالعموم سینکڑوں کی تعداد میں اسلامی کتب دستیاب ہیں. لہذا گزارش ہے کہ آپ اپنی ذمہ داری نبھاتے ہوئے کاشانہ بصیرت کو سبسکرائب کرنے کے ساتھ ساتھ بیل آئیکن کو پریس کیجئے تاکہ آپ علم کے حصول کے ساتھ ساتھ مذہب اہل بیت کی اشاعت میں بھی اہم کردار ادا کرتے رہیں. کاشانہ بصیرت.
فرزند زہرا یہ حالات برے ہیں.
Now we are on page number 149, part 16, and the topic is regarding the occultation ghaibat of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, and this is chapter number 6 of this book. As regard the occultation of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, it is mentioned, narrated to us Hussein bin Ahmad bin Idris, that he said, narrated to us my father, narrated to us Abu Sa'id Sahil bin Ziyad Ar-Razi, that he said, narrated to us Muhammad bin Adam an-Nasai from his father Adam bin Abi Iyas, that he said, narrated to us Mubarak bin Fad'ala from Sayyid bin Jubair, from chief of the worshippers Ali bin Hussein from his father, the chief of the martyrs Hussein bin Ali from his father, the chief of the successors, the leader of believers Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, that he said, the messenger of Allah said, when his death approached, Yusuf alayhi salam called his followers and family members. After praise and glorification of Allah, he informed them they would be involved in hardships and calamities in which their males should be killed and the bellies of the women should be cut open and their children should be slaughtered. Till finally the Almighty Allah will give victory to truth through one who will reappear from the descendants of Lawi bin Yaqub alayhi salam. He shall be a wheat complexioned and well-built man, and he told them about his characteristics. Then he advised them to remain attached to him. After that, both occultation and severities befell the people of Bani Israel, and they waited for the advent of the Qaim for 400 years. Finally, they were given the glad tidings of his birth, and they witnessed the signs of the advent, and the trials and calamities intensified upon them. They were attacked with sticks and stones. So they called for that thinker and scholar whose words used to give them comfort. At that time, he had also gone into Kaljan. So they wrote to him, reminding him that when they faced hard times, they used to get comfort from his words. So he took them to the desert and told them about the Qaim of the time, that this advent was near. It was the moonlit night. At the same time, Musa alayhi salam began to move towards them. At that time, he was a young man. He had emerged from the house of Pharaoh, and there was expression of his purity. So he left his companions and moved towards these people. He was riding a mule at that time and had covered himself with a green silken sheet. When the learned men saw him, he recognized him at once through the foretold signs. He arose from his place and fell down on his feet and kissed his feet as a respect and said, praise be Allah who did not give me death till I could meet you. When the followers understood that it is the same in whose anticipation they had been, they fell down in prostration to thank Allah, the mighty and sublime. Musa alayhi salam did not say anything other than, I am sure the Almighty Allah will release you from your difficulties very soon. After that, he disappeared. Later, Musa alayhi salam went to Madain and stayed with Shoaib. Thus, this second occultation was more severe upon his followers than the first, and it lasted for 50 odd years. During this time, they were subjected to further severities, and the learned men who remained in concealment Again, they sent a message to him that they had no peace and patience when he was away from them. So again, he came out in a desert and assured and consoled them. He said that Allah has revealed to him they shall be free from his trouble within 40 years. They all said, in praise to be Allah. Allah said to him, tell them that Allah has decreased for them 10 years from these 40 years, as they had uttered praise be to Allah. The people said, all the bounties are from Allah alone. So Allah the Mighty and Sublime sent revelation that I have fixed the period of deliverance as 20 years. They said, goodness is from none except Allah. Allah the Mighty and Sublime revealed, I have reduced it to 10 years. They said, none but Allah can remove bad times and hardships. So Allah sent revelation. Tell them not to wait anymore. I have permitted that the means of your deliverance should reach you immediately. They were in same position when Musa alayhi salam appeared to them as astride a donkey. The learned men wanted to tell the followers what they were seeing. Musa alayhi salam arrived, stood before them, and greeted them. The learned men asked, what is your name? I am Musa alayhi salam, he replied. He asked, whose son are you? Musa alayhi salam said, I am the son of Imran. The man asked, whose son was he? He was the son of Qayata bin Lawi bin Yaqub, replied Musa alayhi salam. He asked, what have you come with? Musa alayhi salam replied, I have come with the messengership from Allah, the Mighty and Sublime. The learned man stood up and kissed his hand with respect. Musa alayhi salam sat down among them, consoled them, and after teaching them some religious commands, dispersed them. Between this incident and their deliverance through the drowning of Pharaoh, there was a period of 40 years. Narrated to us, my father and Muhammad bin Hassan bin Ahmad bin Walid, may Allah be pleased with them. They narrated to us Saad bin Abdullah and Abdullah bin Jafar and Muhammad bin Yahya al-Athar and Ahmad bin Idris that they all said, narrated to us Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Isa from Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Abi Nasr from Aban bin Usman from Muhammad al-Halabi from Abi Abdullah alayhi salam that he said, at the time of his death, Yusuf bin Yaqub alayhi salam assembled the descendants of Yaqub alayhi salam, who were 80 men. Then he said, these Copts will dominate you and put you to great trouble. One who will save you from them will be a descendant of Lawi bin Yaqub, whose name will be Musa bin Imran. He shall be a tall young man and will have curly hair. He would be wheat complexioned. Thus, every man of Bani Israel began to name his child Imran, and all those who were named Imran began to name their sons Musa. Aban bin Usman mentioned from Abil Hussein from Abi Basir from Abi Jafar alayhi salam that he said, Musa alayhi salam did not reappear till before him appeared 40 false claimants from Bani Israel, each of who claimed to be Musa ibn Imran. Information reached Pharaoh that people are restless for him and that they are in anticipation of the advent of this young man. The soothsayers and magicians of Pharaoh also informed him that the boy would destroy his kingdom and his religion and that he would be born in Bani Israel that year. So Pharaoh appointed the midwives to examine the women of Bani Israel and said, every child born this year should be killed. A midwife who was appointed on the mother of Musa alayhi salam, when the Bani Israel saw this, they said, when our male children are killed and our women are left alive, we shall be destroyed and our generation would become extinct. So let us decide not to have any relationship with our women. But Musa's father Imran told them, no, let us continue it. Allah's command will come to pass even if the polytheists are averse to it. O Allah, I am not with one who has made it unlawful, and I shall not consider it lawful. Anyone else may abstain from it, but I shall not abstain from it. So he established relationship with Musa's mother, and she became pregnant. Firaun appointed a midwife to keep a watch on her with express instructions that if Musa's mother stands up, she must also stand up, and if she sat down, she must also sit down. Gradually, the midwives became fond of her. Once she asked why she was becoming pale and thin. He said not to inquire her condition, because when my son is born, he will be killed. The midwife told her not to worry, I will keep your son hidden from others. But Musa's mother did not believe her. When Musa alayhis salam was born, his mother was uneasy. The midwives consoled her. She wrapped the child in a cloth and hid him in a room and came out at the door or to the sentries of Pharaoh, standing outside, and asked them to go away and said that except for this bloody lump of meat, nothing has come out. So the sentries went away from there. Then Musa's mother suckled them, but she was worried. What if they heard him crying and came to know the truth? Allah revealed to her to make a wooden box for a child, place him in it, close the box, and cast it on the Nile. She did as Allah commanded. When she cast the wooden casket into the water, the casket returned to her. She pushed it again, but it came back. At last, the wind pushed it far into the river. She became so sad for her child that she wanted to cry out aloud, but Allah gave her patience. The Imam said, Pharaoh's wife was the richest lady of faith, and she also belonged to the Bani Israel tribe. She said to Pharaoh, These are the days of spring. Put a tent for me on the bank of River Nile so that I can enjoy sitting there. Pharaoh complied with her request, and that casket approached her floating on the river. She asked her maid servants, Can you see what I see? They said, By Allah, we can see something floating on the river, on the water. When the wooden basket reached her, she stood up from her place and asked her maids to pull it out. They pulled the basket out of the water and opened it. She found a pretty cute baby boy in it. Seeing the infant, she became very anxious. She held him in her arms and said that she would adopt him as her son. The maidservants also agreed and said, Yes, madam. By Allah, you have no children, and the king is also without any heir. The child is very handsome and attractive. Adopt him. Asiya went to her husband and showed him the charming baby boy from the river. I want to adopt him. So do not kill him, she said. Pharaoh asked her from where she got him. She said that she did not know whose child it was. He was floating in a cascade, and I pulled him out from the river. Pharaoh was satisfied with the explanation and accepted him. When people heard that Pharaoh has adopted a son, they sent their wives to suckle the child, but Musa alayhis salam did not suck. Then Asiya asked Pharaoh to arrange for a wet nurse for the baby. Many nurses tried, but Musa alayhis salam did not suck their milk. Musa's mother also came to know about this. She asked her daughter to ascertain this matter. The sister of Musa alayhis salam came to the door of Pharaoh, asked whether they needed a wet nurse for a child. She said that there was a good woman staying nearby. She would feed the baby and look after him. The servants informed Asiya. She ordered them to bring the girl to her. Musa's sister came to her. She asked that girl was community she belonged to. She said she belonged to the family of Bani Israel. Asiya told her to go away. The maidservants insisted upon her to call that woman and see if the child sucks from her or not. Asiya said, If the child accepts, Pharaoh might be unhappy. She said the child and the nurse both belong to Bani Israel. Pharaoh will not allow her. Her maidservant said, Let us first see if the child sucks. Asiya told the girl to call the wet nurse. Musa's sister ran to her mother. She came and took the child, and he began to suck. Asiya told Pharaoh that she has found a wet nurse for a child. Pharaoh asked which community she belonged to. His wife said that she was from Bani Israel. Pharaoh said, How can it be? The child and the nurse both belong to Bani Israel. Asiya asked him why he was afraid of the child. Now he is our son, she said. He will grow up here in our care. By arguing and discussion, she convinced him. In this way, Musa grew among the dynasty of Pharaoh. Musa's mother, sister, and the midwife kept it secret till the time his mother expired, and the midwife also passed away. Thus he continued to grow, and the people of Bani Israel didn't know about it. The Imam says the people of Bani Israel used to search and inquire about him, and automatically the information about him used to be concealed. Pharaoh learned that people are looking for Musa alayhi salam and seeking information regarding him. So he dispatched his agents to them and subjected them to further torture and separated them. Then he prohibited them to ask about Musa alayhi salam. Once the people of Bani Israel gathered on a moonlit night and went to a learned man. They said, "We used to obtain solace from some things, but how long can we bear these troubles?" He said, "By Allah, you will remain in this condition till Allah sends a young man from the descendants of Lawi bin Yaqub alayhi salam. His name will be Musa bin Imran alayhi salam. He will be strong, tall, brave, and curly haired." While they sat discussing this, all of a sudden Musa alayhi salam came to them on a mule and stopped before them. This old man raised his head and recognized him through the signs and characteristics. He asked, "May Allah bless you. What is your name?" Musa replied, "Musa alayhi salam." He asked, "Who is your father?" Musa alayhi salam said, "I am the son of Imran." The learned men arose and kissed Musa's hand. People fell at the feet of Musa alayhi salam and began to kiss them. Musa alayhi salam and the people recognized each other, and Musa made them his followers. Musa alayhi salam stayed there for a few days and moved to another city. There he saw two men quarreling. One was a believer of Allah, and other was the cop from Pharaoh's community. The believer screamed for help. Musa alayhi salam hit the cop on his chest and he fell down dead. Allah gave him the natural power of strength and terror. The news spread that Musa alayhi salam has killed an Egyptian. Musa alayhi salam passed the night in fear. In the morning, a believer of Musa alayhi salam came running and asked for help as he had some dispute with another man. Musa alayhi salam said, "Indeed, he is on the wrong." Musa alayhi salam was angry on this man. He said, "O Musa alayhi salam, if you want to kill me, as you killed a man yesterday." He said, "Musa alayhi salam, you are supposed to be a superior being on the earth, but you can't rectify the people." Another man came running and informed that the Egyptians were talking about him and wanted to kill him. "O Musa, I am you your true believer and request you to go away from this city." So Musa alayhi salam left the city without any support. He passed through the desert and reached Madian. He rested under a tree. There was a well, and the people came there to draw water. Suddenly, he saw two girls with their animals who had came to draw water for their animals, and they stood aside. Musa alayhi salam asked them for a reason for coming there. They said, "Our father is an old man, and we are weaker. We cannot oppose them, so we are waiting until they draw water and go away. Then we will water our animals." Musa alayhi salam felt pity on them. He took their bucket and asked them to bring their animals near the well. He drew water for them. The girls returned home early. Musa alayhi salam again sat under a tree and prayed to Allah. He had nothing to eat and was very hungry. When the girls reached home, their father Shoaib alayhi salam asked them how they returned early. The girls said that a nice man drew water for them. Shoaib alayhi salam asked one of his daughters to call him. She came to Musa alayhi salam modestly and said that her father has called him to reward him for the favor he has done to them by pulling out water for their animals. Musa alayhi salam told her to walk behind and give him directions because the sons of Yaqub alayhi salam never glance at the back of ladies. Musa alayhi salam came to Shoaib alayhi salam, greeted him, and then explained his condition. Shoaib alayhi salam consoled him and said he was now safe from the unjust people. Then one of the daughters asked her father, "Employ him, because if you do it, you would have employed a strong and an honest worker." Shoaib alayhi salam said to Musa, "I want to marry one of my daughters to you with the condition that you work for me for 8 years, and if you complete 10, it would be a favor from you." According to traditions, Musa alayhi salam completed 10 years in his employment because apostles of Allah do not take anything without favor. After completing the period of Musa alayhi salam took his family and set out towards Jerusalem. One night he lost his way. At that time he saw a fire at a distance. He told his wife, "Wait here. I have seen a fire at a distance. I'll go and see if I can get some for you or get some direction to find the way." When he reached the fire, he saw a green tree lit up as on fire. When he neared, it moved away from its place. Musa alayhi salam turned it, but the tree moved near Musa alayhi salam, and he heard a voice from the right side of the valley, "O Musa, I am Allah, the creator of the worlds. Cast your staff on the ground." Musa alayhi salam cast his staff down. When he saw that the staff was undulting like a python, he was shocked and he began to run away without looking behind. It changed into a serpent whose fangs were calling and flames were leaping out of his mouth. So Musa alayhi salam fled from there, but his Lord asked him to return. Musa alayhi salam came back and was shivering all over. Musa alayhi salam asked, "O Allah, is it your voice that I hear?" "Yes, do not be afraid," replied the Lord. Musa alayhi salam came back. He stepped on the tail of the serpent and put his hands into his mouth. It changed into its original form. Allah told him, "Remove your shoes as you are in the sacred valley." It is narrated that he was ordered to remove them as they were from the cairn of a donkey. According to another tradition, take off your shoes means give up your two fears: one, that your family members will be lost, and another of Pharaoh. After that, Allah the Mighty and Sublime sent him to Pharaoh and his people with two signs. The first was the luminous hand, and the second his staff. It is narrated from Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam that he told his companions, "You should be such that you are more hopeful for something about which you don't have hope." Musa alayhi salam went to get fire for his wife, and he returned as a messenger prophet. Thus Allah reformed the condition of his servant and prophet in a single night. He shall do the same in the case of his second Qaim, that is the 12th of the Imams. And he shall reform his affairs in a single night as he reformed the affair of his prophet Musa alayhi salam, and brought him out from the confusion and occultation into the light of deliverance and reappearance. Narrated to us, my father, that narrated to us Saad bin Abdullah, narrated to us Maula bin Muhammad al Basri and Muhammad bin Jumhar, and other from Abdullah bin Sinan from Abi Abdullah alayhi salam, that he said, "In the Qaim there is a resemblance to Musa bin Imran." I asked, "What is the resemblance to Musa bin Imran?" He replied, "Secret birth and occultation from his people." I asked, "How long was Musa in occultation from his family and followers?" He replied, "For 28 years." And narrated to us Abdul Abbas Muhammad bin Ibrahim bin Ishaq, that he said, narrated to us Hussein bin Ibrahim bin Abdullah, and that he said, narrated to us Muhammad bin Harun al Hashimi, that he said, narrated to us Ahmad bin Isa, that narrated to us Abdul Hussein Ahmad bin Suleiman, that narrated to us Muawiyah bin Hashim from Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Hanifa, from his father Muhammad, from his father Amir al Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, that he said, the Messenger of Allah said, "The Mahdi is from us, Ahlul Bayt. Allah will reform his affair on a single night." And in another version, Allah will bring reform to him in a single night. Now, the next point is narrated to us my father and Muhammad bin Hassan. May Allah be pleased with them. They said, narrated to us Abdullah bin Jafar from Muhammad bin Isa from Suleiman bin Daud from Abi Basid, that he said, "I heard Abu Jafar alayhi salam say, In the master of this affair, there are 4 points of similarity with 4 prophets: resemblance with Musa, resemblance with Isa, resemblance with Yaqub, and resemblance with Muhammad, peace be upon them all. The resemblance with Musa is that he shall be fearing and awaiting. The resemblance with Yusuf is imprisonment. The resemblance with Isa is that it would be said regarding him that he has died while he would not be so, and the resemblance with Muhammad is armed uprising. Now we are on page 155, and this is a new chapter. Account of death of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and account of occultation of successors and divine proof till the period of Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Now at number 1 it is written, narrated to us Ahmad bin Hassan al-Qattan, narrated to us Hassan bin al-Sakhri, narrated to us Muhammad bin Zikriya, narrated to us Jafar bin Muhammad bin Amara from his father that he said, I said to As-Sadiq Jafar bin Muhammad alayhi salam, tell me about the passing away of Musa bin Imran. He replied, when the end of Musa alayhi salam approached and the angel of death came and said, Oh Kalimullah, the one with whom Allah conversed. Assalamu alaikum Musa alayhi salam responded, Wa alaikum assalam. Who are you? The angel replied, I am the angel of death. He asked, why have you come? He replied, to take your soul. Musa asked, from where will you seize it? He replied, from your mouth. Musa asked, how will you seize it from the mouth when I have conversed with Almighty with it? The angel replied, all right, I will seize it from your hands. Musa explained, how will you seize it from my hands when these hands have held the Torah? The angel said, I will seize it from your feet. Musa alayhi salam said, I have gone to Mount Tur on these very feet to talk with my Lord. The angel said, then I will take it from your eyes. Musa alayhi salam said, I have always looked with these eyes hopefully towards my Lord's mercy. The angel said, then from your ear. Musa alayhi salam said, I have heard my Lord's words with these ears. The Almighty Allah revealed to the angel, do not seize his soul until he himself desires it. So the angel of death went back, and Musa alayhi salam lived for a quite long time thereafter. Then one day he called Yusha, gave his will to him, made him his legatee, and asked him to keep the will a secret till the time of Musa's death. He also asked Yusha to pass on the wasiyat, means will, at the time of his Yusha's death to someone else as he desired by Allah. Saying this, Musa alayhi salam disappeared from his people. During these days of his absence, he once met a young digging a grave. Musa alayhi salam told him that he would like to help him in digging that grave. He said, why not, Musa? Musa alayhi salam engaged himself in the digging. Soon the grave was completed by them. Then Musa alayhi salam lay down in it sideways to see how it feels. At that moment, the Almighty Allah showed him his place in paradise. So he said, my Lord, call me towards you. So the angel of death seized his holy soul then and there. Then he buried him in the same grave and closed it by filling it with earth. That man digging the grave was actually the angel of death in the shape of a man. This happened in Tayyah. An announcer announced from the heavens that Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam has died, and who is it that does not die? Narrated to me my father from my grandfather from his father that the messenger of Allah was asked about the location of the grave of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. He replied, near the highway adjacent to the red hillock. After Musa's alayhi salam, Yusha bin Nun alayhi salam became the leader of Bani Israel. He was always busy in their affairs and was bearing all kinds of difficulties caused to him by the king of those days. 3 of those kings died. Thereafter, the condition of Yusha alayhi salam became strong, and he became independent in the matter of law and order, giving orders to do or to refrain from doing things. Then 2 hypocrites of the community of Musa alayhi salam conspired and took Safra, daughter of Shoaib, the wife of Musa alayhi salam, with them and revolted against Yusha bin Nun alayhi salam with 10,000 men. Yusha bin Nun overpowered them. Many groups of them were killed, and those who remained alive fled by the divine order, and Safra, daughter of Shoaib, became a captive. Yusha alayhis salam told her, I am leaving you in this world so that in the other world, when I meet Musa alayhis salam, the Prophet of Allah, I make complaint to him about you and your community, about what I have suffered due to you. Safra said, By Allah, if paradise is made open to me so that I can enter it, I will feel ashamed of seeing there Musa alayhis salam, the Prophet of Allah, as I have torn his veil and thereafter I revolted against his legatee. The Imams and leader that succeeded Yusha bin Nun for 400 years till the time of Prophet Dawud alayhis salam remained in concealment. They were 11 in all, and during each of their times, the people used to visit them and obtain guidance. Finally, it was the turn of the last of them. He remained away from the people, then he reappeared and gave the glad tidings of the advent of Prophet Dawud alayhis salam. He also foretold that it is only Dawud alayhis salam who would cleanse the earth from Jalut and his army, and that the deliverance of the people was dependent only upon his reappearance. So the people began to await for him. When the time Dawud alayhis salam arrived, he had four brothers, and his father was very much advanced in age. Among them, Dawud alayhis salam was the bearer of the divine message and prophethood. He was the youngest among his brothers. While they were unaware that it is Dawud for whom they were waiting, and one who will cleanse the earth from Jalut and his army. And the Shias of Dawud alayhis salam had learned that he has already taken birth and reached maturity, whereas those people used to see and meet him, but they did not know that it was him. After that, one day, Daud, his brother, and their father went out to take part in the battle organized by Talut. But Daud alayhis salam did not accompany them, saying, In what way would it help me from this aspect? The father and brothers of Daud alayhis salam made fun of him, and he began to graze the sheep belonging to his father. When the battle intensified and people faced terrible hardships, the father of Daud alayhis salam came to him and said, Take some food and provisions for your brothers, so that through it they may be able to defeat the enemies. Daud alayhis salam was of a short stature, and there was a scanty hair on his head. But from the aspect of conscience and morals, he was absolutely pure. Thus, when he came to the battlefield, he saw that all the people of his side were close to each other, and all of them had returned to their centers. When he passed by a stone, it spoke up in the loud voice, O thou, take me with you, me and through me slay Jalut. Instead, indeed, I have been created to kill him. So Dawud alayhis salam picked it up and put it in his bag, and then he used for carrying stones when he was grazing sheep and goats. When he entered the army, he found that those people considered Jalut very great, and they thought was no use trying to it was no use trying to subdue him. So he said, Why do you consider it a difficult proposition? By Allah, if I were to see him, I would slay him. The people began to discuss about him, and at last he was taken to Talut. Talut asked him, O young man, how much strength do you possess, and how have you tested yourself? Sometimes a lion attacks my flock and carries off an animal. So I used to chase the lion and catch it by its head, pray open its jaws to release my animals. Now Allah Almighty had previously revealed to Talut that none can slay Jalut except one who can wear Talut's coat of mail with a perfect fit. So he called for his coat of armor, and when Prophet Dawud alayhis salam wore it, it fitted him perfectly. Talut was amazed, and so were the people of Bani Israel who were present at the scene. Talut said, It is hope that Allah will kill Jalut through him. When it was morning and the people met him, Dawud alayhis salam said, Show Jalut to me. When Jalut was shown to him, he took that stone and shot it at Jalut. It hit him between the eyes and split his head into the brain. up to the brain. Jalut crashed down from his mount. There were there was a furor in the people that Daud has killed Jalut, and in this way they made Daud their king. Gradually the influence of Talut waned, and people gathered around Daud alayhi salam. The Almighty Allah revealed the Psalms upon him, taught him the skill of working iron, and made the iron soft for him. Allah ordered the mountains and birds to sing the divine praises with Dawud alayhi salam. The Almighty Allah gave him such a melodious voice that no one had ever heard such a voice. He also bestowed him the strength for the worship of God and made him his prophet in Bani Israel. And the method of the Qaim shall also be such. The Almighty Allah will give him such a standard that it was spread among the people on its own, and Almighty Allah will bestow it the power of speech, and it will call out, O Wali of Allah, eliminate the enemies of Allah, and he shall have a sword that will be concealed in the scrap. When it would be the time of his reappearance, he will take it out, and the Almighty Allah will also provide it the power of speech. It will call out, O Wali of Allah, rise up, because it does not behove that you keep sitting during the confrontation with the enemies of God. Thus he would arise and set out, and wherever he comes across the enemies of Allah, he shall slay them. He shall enforce the divine laws and apply the prescribed penalties, and he shall judge and rule according to the divine commands. Regarding this, narrated to me Abdul Hassan Ahmad bin Sabit in Baghdad from Muhammad bin Al Nahwi, from Muhammad bin Ali bin Abdus Samad, from Muhammad bin Abi bin Musa, from his father, from his forefathers, from Hussein bin Ali alayhi salam, from the Messenger of Allah, in a lengthy traditions, at the end of which he has mentioned that which I have included in the chapter of traditions of the Messenger of Allah, proving Nas on his eminence, Qaim alayhi salam, and also that is the 12th Imam. After that, Dawud alayhi salam wanted to appoint Sulaiman alayhi salam as his successor, because Allah the Mighty and the High had revealed to him thus. When he announced this to Bani Israel, they raised a clamor that he was appointing a young man over them, while there were others more advanced in age. Dawud alayhi salam summoned the leader of Bani Israel and told them, Your talks have reached me, so show me your staffs, and whoever staffs fructifies will be the master of affairs after me. They said, We agree to this proposal. Dawud alayhi salam said, Now each of you write your name on your staff. So they wrote their names on their respective sticks. Then Sulaiman alayhi salam brought his staff and wrote down his name upon it. Then all the sticks were put in a room, and the door was closed. The leaders of Bani Israel kept watch for the night. In the morning, Dawud alayhi salam conducted the morning prayer, and then he stepped forward and opened the door. They took out the sticks, and it was seen that all had leaves, while the stick of Sulaiman alayhi salam had fructified. So they gave it to Dawud alayhi salam. Dawud alayhi salam then examined Sulaiman in the presence of Bani Israel and asked him, Tell me, son, what is it that gives coolness? He replied, Allah's forgiveness of the people and the mutual forgiveness among the people. Dawud alayhi salam asked, What is that is sweet? He replied, Love, and it is the soul of Allah among the people. Dawud alayhi salam laughed in joy, brought him to Bani Israel, and said, He is my successor among you after me. After that, Suleiman kept his matter confidential. He got married and kept him away from his followers for a long time. One day, his wife said, May my parents be sacrificed on you. How perfect your habits are, how fragrant you are, and I don't find in you your traits or habits that I may dislike, except that you live depending on my father. Thus, if you go to the market and with the help of Allah make effort to earn a livelihood, I'm sure Allah will not fail you. Sulaiman alayhi salam said, By Allah, neither have I done any work so far, nor can I do anything properly. But anyway, he set out for the market and spent the whole day roaming here and there without earning anything. As At last, he returned home and told his wife that he was unable to make any money. No problem, she said. Try again tomorrow. Again, the next day, he departed to the market and spent the whole day roaming about, but again did not have any luck. When he returned and told his wife about it, she said, "If Allah something will happen tomorrow." On the third day, after walking for a long time, he reached the riverbank where he met a fisherman and said to him, "I can assist you in your work, after which you can pay me something." "Why not?" said the fisherman. So he began to work with the fisherman, who at the end of the day paid him in kind with a couple of fishes. He took up the fishes and thanked and praised Allah for the same. Then he cut open one of the fishes to find that it contained a jewel, that is, a ring. He took it out and pocketed it in praising and thanking Almighty Allah. Then he cleaned up the two fishes and brought them home. His wife was much pleased and she asked him to invite her parents so that they may know that he has started earning. So they were invited and they arrived and began to eat with them. After the dinner, Sulaiman alayhi salam asked, "Do you know who I am?" "No," they replied, "except that we have seen nothing but goodness from you." Thus, when he took up his ring in his hand, the wind and birds began to move towards him, and his rulership became apparent. After that, he took his wife and her parents and set out for the city of Istakhar. When he reached there, his followers gathered around him and began to talk about the glad tidings of his arrival. Thus, the Almighty Allah brought them out from the confusion of his occultation. When his end approached, according to Allah's command, he appointed Asif bin Barakia as his legatee and successor. Asif therefore remained among them, and the followers continued to interact with him and sought religious guidance from him. Then Almighty Allah made Asif also go into occultation, and after a considerable period brought him back to the people among whom he lived for a long time. Finally, when he bid adieu, the people asked when they shall meet again. Upon his this he replied, "We shall now meet at the Sirat bridge." And then he disappeared from them according to divine will. As a result of his occultation, calamities intensified on Bani Israel and gained political power upon them. He used to eliminate whoever he could find, and those who managed to escape were pursued, and their children and family members who made captives. Thus, he selected 4% from the family of Yusha from Yehuda, whom he had imprisoned, among whom Prophet Daniel was also included, and he selected Uzair from the progeny of Harun alayhi salam. Since he was younger of two, he remained under the control of other people of Bani Israel, continued to suffer the worst of the tortures. The proof of God, Prophet Daniel alayhi salam remained a prisoner of for 90 years. Thus he learnt of his excellence and superiority, and he came to know that Bani Israel was awaiting for his advent and uprising, and that they hope for deliverance and victory of his hands. So he ordered that he should be kept in a huge pit along with the lion, so that it may make him a morsel of death. But the lion did not even go near him. After that, he ordered that he should be starved to death. But Almighty Allah sent him food and water through one of his prophets. The prophet Daniel used to fast during the days and end his fast in the evening with the food that was sent to him. During that time, hardships increased on his supporters and followers, his people, and those who were in anticipation of his advent, and most of them, due to the excessive prolongation of occultation, get deviated from their religion. When it was time for the end of the hardships of Prophet Daniel and his people, he saw and dreamed that army after my army angels is descending from the heavens and entering the pit in which Daniel was held. Each of them was greeting him and giving the glad tidings of deliverance and success. In the morning he was ashamed for the treatment he had meted out to Daniel, and he ordered him to be taken out from the pit. When he was brought out of him, he asked for his forgiveness for having imprisoned for crime and for having tortured him so much. After that, he handed over the reins of his government to him. He was also entrusted to judge cases of legislation. Sorry, it's litigation. Thus, the people of Bani Israel who were in hiding so far came out and assembled around Prophet Daniel alayhi salam because they were sure that it was the time of deliverance and comfort. Thus, Daniel alayhi salam remained in this condition for some time and at last departed for the eternal abode, entrusting all the affairs of the kingdom to Prophet Uzair alayhi salam. Now, the people congregated around him and gained proximity from him. They obtained religious guidance and instructions from him. After that, the Almighty Allah kept Uzair in oculation from them for 100 years and then made him reappearance once more. The divine representatives that came after him also remained in concealment. In this way, hardships increased upon Bani Israel till Yahya bin Zechariah alayhi salam took birth. He continued to grow up into the time of the declaration of his prophethood, which was at the time when he was only 7 years old. He came before the people and addressed them. After extolling the praise and glorification of the Almighty, he earned them of divine chastisement, and he told them that the hardships faced by the righteous people were due to the sins of Bani Israel, and the good ends is for those who are pious. He also informed them that the Jesus Christ will appear after 20 odd years. When Christ was born, the Almighty Allah kept his birth a secret and his presence in concealment, because when the lady Maryam conceived him, she took him away from the people to a place, and later Prophet Zechariah and her aunt followed her footprints and reached there. The two of them chastised her while Mariam had already delivered the baby, and she was saying, "Oh, would that I had died before this and had seen a thing quite forgotten." But the Almighty Allah bestowed the power of speech to His Eminence Christ in order to justify Maryam, and to establish the proof and evidence. When Jesus declared his mission, the trouble and restrictions increased on Bani Israel, and the tyrant rulers suppressed him till happened what the Almighty Allah has told us about. After that, Shamun bin Harun and other followers of Isa alayhi salam went into hiding and reached an island and began to spend their lives there. The Almighty Allah brought out springs of potable water, created all kind of fruits for them, and also provided them with animals. Allah sent a particular type of fish towards them. It was called humud and had neither flesh or bone. It consisted only of skin and blood. The honeybee has made to mount it, and these fishes brought the honeybees to the island. The bees made honeycombs on the trees of the island, and soon there was a plenty of honey there. Nothing about Isa alayhi salam was concealed from the people of that land, of that island.